Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. So we're having a wee break from the Jouef locomotive. I've since had a look at it. There will be more updates. The 04 OTA, the one with the limp, and I've actually started work on the layout to make the insulated sections, the switches. And when I was drilling through the board the other evening, of course the screwdriver machine, the drill went through, and when it bumped through, it succeeded, and I had forgotten where I'd parked this rail car, and it fell on the floor, slap bang on the side. But this is as you know, my home designed, scratch built, styrene, what if, freelance rail car, which fell with a good heavy Jouef body. It fell on its sides. The only things with the shock, the whistle sort of bent over a bit, and one of the horns, these are glued on with glue and glaze, disconnected slightly. I can't even remember which one. This one over here. So I just re-glued it, apart from swearing like a trooper after it happened. No damage to the handrails, no damage to the paint, no damage to the mechanism or the chassis, no damage to the interior. So let's say it was a lucky dive, because it was parked over there beside the station, and I had the thing pulled over, working on that corner over there beside the small building which will conceal these gigantic switches, and okay, it fell on the floor. Anyway, this minor incident with no real consequences apart from a swearing competition in Italian, I think definitely it was Italian, and it's an occasion to have a look at the mechanism after a good period of use, because I lubricated this when I finished the job last summer. I've since used it quite frequently because it's a very good model, also for the small layout, and we can have a look. You can see by the glistening, let's make it pointer, on that the technical petroleum jelly grease I use is still there. So this is one of even here on the drive gear, you can see that it's slightly shiny. You don't need to put too much. And even here on the motor, still see that that's well lubricated, it's still okay. On the drive gears here, so I don't need to add any more. I might add just a spot to the main gear here. Underneath we see that even there on the gears there's still lubricant. It's not dry. This is the advantage of technical petroleum jelly. It doesn't gunk up. Maybe there's a hair or something there. And I also put a spot on the plunger pickups here on the axles, because it improves electrical conductivity. So we might just put a tiny spot. Wait a minute, that's before. You can also see the ballast layout. There's ballast in here, because this was sitting, I had to put the chassis in trim. Some ballast there, and then the ballast underneath, which is on top of the motor housing lid, and which you can see that it's offset to correct the list, because this chassis has a list. I don't know why, it just has a list. Of course, this is the chassis of an earlier Jouef BB 67000 locomotive, which is an evolution of the one with a big can motor, the saucisson motor. This has got the small 3-pole motor, but it's actually very good, a very well designed chassis, because you can see by the size of this gear, this can really go slowly. it can go at low speeds. So very realistic for a rail car on a branch line. And the other thing is that the mechanism is so smooth running with this big gear that you can actually push it along and it turns the motor. Of course, the motor bearings are lubricated, everything is nicely oiled, so greased. I'll put links in the description box of the various steps, but there is a whole playlist dedicated to this. You just need to look up scratch built freelance rail car. Anyway, I'll put a link in the description box to one of the videos. And now I'll just put the body back on. I'll show you how it's done. Just let me park this over here. It's getting warm in here because I shut the windows to keep the noisy cicadas out, because I'm a bit fed up of shouting to drown the things. So we'll get this video over and done with, because I didn't even put the fan on at the moment. This is the technical petroleum jelly I use, grasso di vaselina. I'll show you it a bit better. You generally see me applying it from a small jar, because I don't take this great big tube out. Grasso di vaselina tecnica, lubrificante protettivo incolore inerte ecologico. Okay, pure paraffin cream, no color, inert, does not oxidize, doesn't go rancid, doesn't get hardened, doesn't go yellow, doesn't stain. It doesn't react with materials, which is very good, so there are no problems with nylon gears and such. This is good both on plastic and metal gears. Protects wood, it does all sorts of fantastic things. Definitely don't put it in your eyes. Avoid prolonged contact with your skin, the usual warnings. It's also very good in locks, car door handles, etc. So technical petroleum jelly is very good, and it's also pretty cheap. It's cheap stuff. It's not, bespoke. I mean, I'm not saying that the specific grease maybe which is sold by the railway, by the model rail manufacturers, or the various brands, is not good. Definitely is good, but this is a very good budget thing, and this is excellent. If it's good in your car door, which is subject to cold, and it's also got plastic, a car lock has got metal and plastic components inside. If it's good for that, it's definitely good for a locomotive. And it's also good to put, you put this stuff on the contacts of your car battery to increase and to reduce oxidation and to improve conductivity. So it'll work in a car battery, which is an electrical thing in a very unfriendly environment. It'll also be good in your model locomotive. Okay, so another thing I noticed, I'm going to just see I'm doing a comparative before I pop the bodywork back on. So, as I was mentioning, this is a BB 67000 chassis, Juef one, and this is a Lima BB 67000. And I noticed a thing. This is an earlier design, and the earlier design of SNCF BB 67000 is actually a shorty, as Arcadia Model Railways use, and I'm borrowing his term. You can see that it's definitely, the wheelbase is shorter. Bogie design is very similar, but it's a bit shorter than the Lima locomotive. Of course, Lima rolling stock, the coaches are generally shorter in 1/100 scale. But Lima has always made, since the very beginning, locomotives in precise, exact 1/87 scale. So this is correct. This is not shorter. This is the true to the real length. So you can see that this older Juef chassis for the same type of locomotive is actually a little bit shorter. So just a curiosity, saying I had them here, but as I was saying, this is a very, very well designed chassis, really good. It's a pity I've never had a chance to try the other Jouef BB 67000 chassis, the one that's only got the motor, the single wheel driven, it's very complicated to say. It has a bogie, a drive bogie, but a drive bogie with only one driven wheel, and the motor fitted at a slant. It's the one I bought, and it was missing the magnet, so I was never able to test the thing. And I suppose it's a good puller because of the traction tires on said axle, but I would have liked to try and test it, honestly. Maybe, you never know, one day I might get one, but the thing is that you can't just keep accumulating locomotives, because then you'll never have time to use them all. I've already got too many nowadays. Okay, with the fact that I buy second-hand cheap stuff, if I were to buy new things with the extortionate, well, they're super precise to do all sorts of things. They even would probably make you a cup of tea. But the prices are incredible. I mean, you're going to pay for a model locomotive on the Italian market what I paid to change an exhaust pipe and to do an oil change and some other jobs in a car. So it makes absolutely no sense. Or I don't know, I'm thinking of dentistry work. Well, no. Model locomotive shouldn't cost as much as dental work, but well, let's say. Okay, my meters of comparison. Right, so I'm going to pop the body back on. As you can see, the cabs are, I also made the cab interior. Let's shift this one here out the road. There's a bigger cab at the front with the luggage compartments, smaller cab at the back. I could even add a wee man in here sooner or later. Let's see when I eventually decide to do that. I'm using the original lugs on the chassis, which are there. There are those holes there on the locomotive. Where's my pencil? Pencil's disappeared. Right there. And in fact, I've marked end 1 and end 2, and they are concealed by the destination boards. So it's a very simple fit. I just put it on top. It's flexible, stretch it a little. And that's it, clipped in place. And that's on in the holes, no problem. That's not going anywhere. So we're back in business, even after it had a dive off the board. Let's pop it on the layout and have a spin. Okay, I've got to get some work done on the rails here. We're on the track. Oh, I'm beginning to cook without the fan on. Excuse me. Grandstand view of the toilet paper under there. And there we go. Okay, we'll pull away in the other direction. It's on top of the section of Jouef telescopic track, which always requires a bit of cleaning. So let's just do like that. It means the pickup wheels were on top of that. Because both bogies drive, but only one bogie picks up. It's generally a very good locomotive. A very good rail car. Went over the telescopic track, no problem. Very good crawler. Very well behaved on points. So we'll bring it to a halt. I'm going to move it on the table now because I have to work on here. I have to drill, I have to widen a couple of holes, and I don't want things falling off, so I'm shifting all the rolling stock out the road. Right, I hope you enjoyed the video, and it was a good occasion. I didn't even put any extra grease, but I can add it whenever I want. It's very simple to take the body off and on, just stretch it a little bit, unclip it. So I'll lubricate the main gear on another occasion. Next time I'm lubricating something. Anyway, there are other locomotives needing maintenance, so the grease will be required. Okay, very well. I'm going to get some work done on this layout today. I better open a window because I'm beginning to fry. Cheerio, and see you next time.